Okay, so we are going to look at the assignment for semicolons, colons, and dashes. You've heard the expert, I've gone over the rules, and now let's look at your practice. Now remember that a lot of times this part, while the least exciting, is actually the most beneficial for you because it's telling your brain, hey, this is why it's the correct answer, or this is why I missed it, and that way you don't make the same mistake again. The tip that I'm going to use here, or the strategy that I'm going to use, may or may not work for you. It doesn't work on every question on the ACT. I'm just telling you that there are times that this works for me, and I am sharing it with you to use or not use. Okay, so I'm looking at the question, and I immediately go to my answer choices. And I see that it's a colon, a semicolon, no punctuation, and then for no change, it's a comma. So I know before I read the sentence that I'm going to look and see if this is two complete sentences. Max went shopping this weekend. That's an independent clause. He needed to buy Christmas gifts for his family. Independent clause. So I know ACT is only going to test these with comma fanboy, semicolon, period, okay, and a colon if this explains it. So, Max went shop. Oh, that's got to have fanboy. So it is not A. This weekend, he needed to buy Christmas gifts. Well, that's explaining it. So it's B. Now, for you guys, you can double check yourself. Semicolon, needing to buy Christmas gifts for his family is not a complete sentence, so it's not C. And then you have to have punctuation marks because it's two independent clauses. Okay, next one. Same strategy. I immediately go to the underlined part, okay, and then I look and see what's different between them. So you've got colon, however, comma, 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 semicolon, comma, and then no changes, nothing here. It's not A, because I know that with however, you always have to have two punctuation marks. It's either going to be semicolon, however, comma, or comma, however, comma. So this is not one of our choices, a colon, so we're going to cross out B. Now I'm going to read the sentence. Some people made mean comments about her hair. That is a complete sentence. She was proud to be a redhead. That is a complete sentence. Okay? I know it's got to be a semicolon. Okay? Because you use when it is two complete sentences, you have to use a semicolon. Comma is only used within one sentence, not two complete sentences. Okay? Number 3. All right. Well, this part's not underlined. So, let's see. It looks like the part that it is, looks like this one is what should be underlined. Okay? So, I'm going to look at it, and I see that it is how, running, period, running, colon, running. In my mind, same thing. Period means two complete sentences. Okay. Semicolon. I'm running out of room here. Is going to be a complete sentence on each side. Okay. A colon is going to be a complete sentence and then either an explanation. And then we know that those are my choices. Okay. So I'm going to look. I spent my Saturday the best way I know how. Complete sentence. Okay. Running around in the park with my dogs. We know it cannot be C because a period is a complete sentence. This is not a complete sentence. Okay. We know that it cannot be B for the same reason. Semicolons are only used with complete sentences. Okay. Now we have to look at it and go, okay, is this part of this or is this explaining it? If it's part of your predicate, then no punctuation is needed, but if it explains your first sentence, you're going to use it with a colon. running around in the park with my dogs. Well, that's explaining how. So we're going to use a colon. This clause explains how. Okay. Number 4, same thing. I look at my underlined part, I look at my choices, so I see that we're doing, All right, looks like there's a typo on this one because it's got semicolon, semicolon, colon, no change. All right, it's okay, I'm sorry about the typo. You can actually still get the correct answer just because it's not a semicolon. But you would do the same thing. I know semicolons are only used with 2 complete sentences. So I read from here to here. From here to here is a complete sentence. No, it's not. From here to here is a complete sentence. Okay? This is not 2 complete sentences. It's just one. So it's going to be no change. Okay? All right, now this one threw me when I was making the answer key for this from the real ACT, just because of the way it's worded, and that's one thing that you want to be careful of. All right, so I'm looking again over here at my underlined part, and then I looked over here to see what's different, and I see comma, colon, comma. So my mind is thinking, okay, a positives maybe? So now I read the sentence. 6 years later, 2501 migrants, as the artist titled the work, traveled. Okay, so the name of the work is Traveled. Okay, I know that a positive set off information, so I would need 2 commas. So which one matches? I know it's not no change because I had to add a comma there. And this is where working in the book actually helps you. Okay, that one's got the comma that I had to add, but I'm missing the one there. Oh, it's not that one. Okay, I misread the question. Okay, we're back up just a little bit. As the artist titled the work. Okay, this is what I was telling you about how making the answer key threw me. I did it again when I was explaining it. As the artist titled the work, the first time I read this, I was thinking that this was the name of the piece of work, Traveled, and that it needed to be set off by commas, but I was wrong because I misread the sentence. And so when I'm looking at my answer choices, I'm like, well, none of these are right then. So that's when I went back and said, okay, I had to have misread the sentence, so let's see how I misread it. So I go back. 6 years later, okay, here's what I did. The title of the work is this, okay, 2501 Migrants. As the artist titled the work. This is additional information. I don't need that, okay? Travel is actually my verb. So that actually makes the correct answer B, okay? Because you're just setting off this part. This part can be taken out. So it's 6 years later, 2,501 migrants traveled to Monterrey, Mexico. Okay. All right, number 6. The 2 main types of camels are Bactrian camels, which have 2 humps, and dromedary camels, which have 1. Now for this one, I will tell you that when I made the answer key, I did my strategy where I looked down and I just looked and saw what was different, and it made me miss this question because I saw the word are and I thought list, and so I said, oh, colon. But that is not what this one is. Okay? And so again, my strategy works occasionally, but it is not 100% of the time, and so you do have to be cautious. And it's that way for every strategy that you get from anywhere. It's a strategy. It's not a always use this thing. All right, so number 6. The 2 main types of camels are, and then it gives me Bactrian camels, which are 2 humps. This is information not needed. Okay, so it's setting it off. And dromedary camels, which we also don't need. So the real sentence is, the 2 main types of camels are Bactrian camels and dromedary camels. Okay. you don't need punctuation for that. So it is C. Again, this is where marking up the book and crossing out phrases that you don't need really helps you see, oh, it's not a list. I don't need that. Okay. One more thing on this that would also help you. Remember that if you want to use a colon, it's going to be a complete sentence before the colon. The two main types of camels are, that is not a complete sentence. Okay. So you know that it can't be your colon. Okay. Tootsie Pops are beloved for the lollipops, chocolatey centers. Okay. That's the underlined part. So that's what I'm going to focus on. I know that I'm looking for possession, so I'm not even going to bother to read the rest of that sentence. It's just, I'm not thinking about it. All I want to know is lollipop singular or plural? Okay, because I'm looking at possession here. Okay, I see Tootsie Pops, that's plural. We've got a plural verb, so I want to choose the correct form of possession. Now remember, if it is singular possessive, it's apostrophe S. If it's plural possessive, it's S apostrophe. And we've already seen that Tootsie Pops is plural, R is plural, so we know that it's going to be B. Okay. No need to read the rest of the sentence, no need to analyze yourself. It has to match. Plural, plural, plural. Okay. All right, number 8. Looking at the part that's underlined. Okay, and then I'm looking at my answer choices. All right, I see a comma, nothing, a dash, and then no change. My mind is the first thing I'm going to go do is I'm going to look down here and see if I have another punctuation mark. Because if I do, they typically have to match. There is one exception to that. It is tested on the ACT, but this is not it. I'll go over that one later. So my mind's going to go D, okay, because 2 dashes. Okay. If this had been a comma, it would have been B, but it's not, it's a dash. And so you're going to use, it's always rule of thumb, it's 2 commas, 2 dashes. So it's no need to save time thinking, going through the process of the rules, just choose D and move on. All right, same strategy, looking at the underlined part. I've got semicolon, nothing, comma. I'm going to go through, I'm going to read the sentence and find out if it's 2 complete sentences. Even though she's been trying to cut it down, that's a dependent clause. Friends, action, album, collection is still impressive, independent clause. Okay, over 400 vinyl records, 2,000 CDs. Okay, well, that's explaining how many it is, so this is going to be a dependent clause. I know that it cannot be B, because this has to be a complete sentence for it to work. Cannot be C, because otherwise it's a run-on, because there's no punctuation there. And then now let's look at A and D. Complete sentence, but if you change it to it's 400 vinyl records, no, that still makes it a fragment. So this one is wrong, and then there's no change. Okay. This part right here, this dependent clause, is explaining the first half. So you'll get faster at this as you go along, and some of this was kind of drawn out except for the one that I made that mistake on, and I'm sorry. It was thinking it through, you get the answers. There are a couple, these were all real ACT questions. So you notice that even for those of us that have the grammar rules down, it still takes us a second sometimes to pause and work through it. And that's why you need to do that too, is think through it. If you can't figure it out, narrow it down, and then, guess from there.